Hey guys, I had a month to move 4 ant colonies into new setups as the Insect Expo was coming up soon. The old setups they were in aren't ideal or needed an upgrade. Let's start off with my Misia Glossa. This was their current setup. I like keeping my ants in a tubs and tube setup as I find I have a higher success rate. I think showcasing them in a Hebel or Whitong nest would look best. I bought this nest especially for my Glossa. I'm also using this tub for their outworld. It's great as it has holes already at the top. The nest came with a red cover as it'll make it dark. The colony are doing well after a few failed cocoons. There is 5 workers and lots of larvae. I can't wait to showcase them in a nest, as I don't observe them often since their tube is covered with sand. I will be using this tube to connect the outworld to the nest. I add fluon, substrate, then boil the water to soften the tube so it fits snug in the hole. Once the outworld is decorated, I then hydrate the nest. This is a smaller setup, but it'll do for the time being, as the colony isn't as big. I gently place the tube in and cover the nest. Hopefully they'll move in successfully. After an hour, I removed the test tube and gently poured the colony and brood out. I decided to give them honey water, as I felt bad that I kicked them out of their test tube. I then used my heat cord to encourage the ants to move into the nest. They have added substrate into the nest to their liking. This is a great sign as the larvae will use this substrate to spin their own cocoons in the future. The next colony to move is my Misia Breanod. I've been waiting a long time to have an ant colony move into this wave-like nest. My friend Billy created this, and I absolutely love this design. This was their old setup. You can see where the 2 test tubes were placed. I'll be using this acrylic tub as their outworld. After hydrating the nest, I decorated the outworld and then attached a tube that will lead the colony into their new nest, placing the test tubes and feeding dish. Time for the moving process to start. I cover the nest so it's dark. About 4 days later, I remove 1 test tube and place the brood near the entrance of the nest, hoping to speed up the process. I've caught one of the workers trying to drag the queen into the nest, so I was confident they'd move in soon. But I was wrong, as almost a week went by, and half the colony was in the nest with brood, and the other half in the test tube still. But then I realized the nest is actually too big for this colony. In the end, I went back to a tubs and tubes setup. Showcasing the colony like this worked in my favor. The colony that will be moving into this setup is my Camponotus Inutis. I felt the most excitement to observe this move. This was their setup, as they have 2 test tubes attached to their outworld. They deserve an upgrade. Their new home will be an acrylic nest, as the test tubes have become too crowded. Preparing their setup, and then adding one of the test tubes and gently tapping the brood and workers out of the second to speed up the process. I eventually took out the other test tube, and I observed what they did next. They were a bit confused, but eventually they worked out a system. I've captured their whole moving process and would like to make it into a separate video. Here's a clip I captured of the queen moving around with her workers. The final colony I had to move was my Misia Pila, or also known as jumping jacks. The queen has more than 15 workers. They'll be moving into an acrylic nest. I place the remaining workers from the old outworld to the new one. I'm using a paintbrush. I then place the test tube and gently tap the other. They then start exploring. I've added a drop of honey water. Here you can see the queen with her eggs. The colony currently don't have any larvae, so I don't need to feed them protein. This bridge leads to the nest. I thought this was a fun way of introducing a new nest. They've all settled, and that's all the footage I've captured. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out my Camponotus Inutis move in a future video.